Yeah, that's how they would take care of the music industry. I was listening to this Lester Bangs interview just now, and this guy talked about how, when kids can't afford to go see concerts anymore, then they'll just have a resurgence of garage bands, and maybe not without, maybe with YouTube that won't happen now, but let's say we don't have the pop music. It's too expensive to do. If we stopped the system and it had to restart, the amount of garage bands and independent artists that could go on the radio and fill this gap, it's the new age of music. What do we always talk about when we say that? Music is dead. Music, music, it's gone now. It's garbage. But it's no, you know who said that? My grandparents said that. My grandparents said that. My great-grandparents said that. My parents said that when they were teenagers. They all said it when they were adults. They thought, rock and roll music was the devil. Then they thought, hip-hop was the fucking devil. And now, rap and pop music is, corporate and terrible. It's fucking soulless. But I love it. I'm a huge fan of corporate pop music. Someone writes a damn good tune, I'll tell you what. And they're counting a lot of cash in hell right now. Dude, yeah, fucking, what if? I hope my kids are into music. I'm super into music. I definitely during over the summer, I listened to a lot of albums, just cover to cover. I would just, kind of just queue up a bunch on YouTube. They're always just free online. And just listen to music. And, I'd write the book, or I'd play games, or I would just, I'd read, or, I'd just do something. But I'd have it on in the background. And then sometimes I would really listen to it. I would sit down and I would just, listen to the music, really focus and, soak it in. And I really got into, some of my, favorite albums, Weezer's Blue album that I, really listened to cover to cover for the first time. Not even that long. It's, one of my favorite albums. I listened to Pinkerton again, and I really listened to, what the songs are about. And it was just... I did this with, a lot of music that I had maybe heard as a kid. And then I was you know what, I'm going to listen to it again and see if it holds up. Because everyone was those albums are garbage. And you go well, why are they garbage? And you listen to them and they're not garbage. They're really good. Beastie Boys have, really, really good, a really rough, nerdy sound. It's gross. It's, it's awkward. It's weird. It's, it's cool. It's it's honest. And I listened to a lot of rock, a lot of alternative rock albums from early 2000s. I listened to a lot of the Strokes. I re-listened to all my favorite Strokes albums again. I just listened to Black Keys. Black Keys Brothers is one of my favorite records. It's just cover to cover. It's awesome. Yeah. What if my kid were a musician? If I wanted my kid to be able to play an instrument, what would I want him to play? I feel piano and guitar would be safe. I feel that would be a pretty safe bet, one of those two. Maybe even both. Hell, kids learn all these instruments these days. I hope they're artistic in some way, though. It doesn't really matter what way. I hope they don't get fucked. I hope they can talk to me easier. I hope, every parent in my family has, been brought up to go, I'll be more sensitive than my dad. And now it's passed to me, and I'll go, I'll be more sensitive than my dad. And then, we'd raise, these perfect humans. That's exponential. It's gonna happen. But yeah, if my kids were artists... that would be awesome. I mean, as long as they, lived comfortably. I'm not talking about, they're starving artists that don't do anything. But just, I want them to create things. I want them to build things. I don't know what it is. I don't want them to create stuff. Because, that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing with these. What I'm doing with these audio diaries, with this book. Every fucking big message I write to people when I forgive and, thank people. It's all just these, works of art that I am crafting with words, and then I send them off. And I just do it for me. I just do it because I want to do it. I've apologized to, every girlfriend I've ever had. every like coworker that was like ever cool. Like, I like thanked a lot of people. Like, really, like, try that sometime. Just think of someone that you haven't talked to for like a couple years, and just like thank them for just being them. Tell them like, hey, like, I just want to say like, thank you for being there for me. For just kind of being into really dope shit. Just like really just being cool, being positive in my life. You know, like, what if you got that message? What if you got that message and you read like some old buddy you don't even remember, but like, oh, you met him and like, oh, they were cool, and like, what if he like found you and just was like, you were just cool, and like maybe you'd feel uncomfortable, like, oh, we weren't that close. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but like, part of you would be flattered. Part of you would go like, well, that was really nice. Like, that was cool of that dude to say that to me, and like, that's my driving motivation for doing it. I go, like, I want to do it because, you know, I want to just, like, I want to be positive. I want to just, like, make people's lives a little bit better. I want to help people. And I think that just, it's a positive thing. Especially to forgive people. Like, a lot of the book, I've wronged a lot of people. I treated a lot of people poorly at times in the Marine Corps. And when you reflect on your own life, maybe you have also treated people very poorly. Maybe not a lot of people. Maybe not, like, your friends, but maybe, like, people that you worked with, or maybe people you went to school with. Like, on the internet, we're so, like, hip. We're so hip and self-aware now. Now that we're the fucking cool kids. So now everyone who's just, like, flawed fucking woe-is-me people, we're all seen as so fucking complicated, and we all know it's bullshit. We're all just, like, we're all negative people who are just, like, so obsessed with, like, appearing terrified and insecure, and that, in turn, really does make us terrified and insecure. Like, how many times do you see pictures on Facebook or, like, people posting, like, oh my god, my life is over, like, people, like, cats holding on to things, like, this is my life right now, and they just act like these children, and it's weird. It's like these online personas that, like, I hope these aren't in, like, the real world. Like, these are just, like, these fantasy personas, but it's, like, such a dominant fantasy. It's weird, but, like, my parents, like, they were fucking homeowners at 27. Like, you know, that's a pretty baller move. Like, that doesn't happen now. Like, you know, my parents were married my dad was 25 years old. I'm 26 right now. My dad was younger than me. By now, no, he gets, my mom would be pregnant in probably November. Because I'm born in July, so 9 months before. It's like November or December. Or 8 months. 8 or 9 months. November, December. Yeah. It's so weird to think about. Like, how much faster, like, my parents grew up than me. And, like, of course, people blame politics, and they blame Generation X and baby boomers, and, like, I don't get any of that, and I think a lot of people don't. I think that a lot of people just kind of get swept up in the moment and believe anything, but, yeah, like, my dad just, like, graduated high school, went straight to fucking Cornell. Fucking Cornell. My dad went to an Ivy League school, and just, like, graduated with, like, he was a phenomenally intelligent guy. My dad was so smart, and I'm just so, like, it's so weird to think of him as, like, anything else than my dad. And, like, by 21 or 22, like, I think he had, like, a full-time job, like, an engineering gig. Like, he, like, moved out to California, then, like, he, like, you know, he went to school, and, like, maybe, like, grad school, or he went to, work, and then, like, went to Texas, and, like, met my mom, and, like, at, like, 24, probably, like, met, like, this girl, and, like, fell, like, it was head over heels for my mom, and then, like, they both moved to, like, Washington State, and, like, by 25, like, they're married, and, like, by 27, my dad's a dad. Like, that's crazy. Like, what if I were a dad in a year? Like, would I still be me? Like, would I still, like, you know, like, would I be a husband, too? Like, would I... You know, like, I would be so crazy. Like, a part of me, like, a part of this voice saying this will break off and form my own blossoming flower. And it will become self-aware. and then it'll question me. It'll question my entire existence and whether I'm even real, or this is all just a hallucination. Like this is all a memory in my head, and I'm really like the old father right now. My dad's pretty cool though. He gets like we used to not. We really didn't get along when I was like growing up, and that was kind of my fault. Like I was a very angsty little bastard, and I never really apologized to my dad for that. Like he was very patient with me. Like my dad was a cool dude. He like kept his head when my stepmom would get kind of angry at me, or like when just like when trouble was happening with like my mom and like my stepdad, like my other parents. Like my dad really like he was there for me. Like he pulled out a lot of hair raising me, and maybe I should thank him for that. I don't know if you're listening to this, Dad. Thanks for those troubled teen years. Yeah. Well, the butterfly effect of that is like now I'm writing a pretty dope book, I guess. Right. That's my life up to now. I don't know. I think I'd be a good father. I think I'd figure it out. It's all instinct, right? It's like dumb animals figure it out. Like, what's a stupid parent animal? I don't know. Like a squirrel or something. Like a bird. But, like, a bird is an idiot. But, like, that bird, like, figures out, like, oh, my God, I have babies now. Oh, my God, feed these babies. Like, it's just instinct. Like, obviously I would have more planning. I could just, dip into funds and start, like, live, child. I'd figure it out. Every first-time parent's a first-time parent, right? My dad figured it out. I don't know. I would be a pretty liberal dad. I think, cause, like, I don't know. Like, I would be a pretty chill dad, but, like, I bet my dad thought he was a chill dad. So, like, what if I'm not a chill dad? Like, what if my own kids think, like, oh, my dad's such a pussy? Like, where did you learn that word? That word's been bred out of existence with this liberal culture of ours. So saith conservative truth-tellers. Yeah, my kids would be weird. My kids would, like, completely grow up with, like, social media and the internet and, like, 4K graphics on, like, television screens, and, like, everything is just, like, everything is so virtual, like the Matrix anyway. And, like, that'll be normal for them. And I'll be, like, the kooky old guy who's, like, complaining about technology. And going, no, I was okay before, but now this is too crazy. And, like, and all my kids are just like, shut the what are you talking about, Dad? Like, this is normal. And then I'm like, on my deathbed, I'm like, this isn't normal. And I just, I shake I shake, rattle, and then I die. And that's like what almost every old person's got to think that. I'm like, it's all over. You're like the last of a generation. I talked to my grandparents. I talked to my grandpa when I was in Maine this year about aging. I didn't explicitly say death. I just kind of like hinted at it, and he said he was like ready for whatever. Like my grandpa's been he's famously like a pretty grumpy guy, but like really just talking to him, he's a pretty cool he's like people are way more genuine than like I give them credit, or like I guess maybe like people in general. Like we think everyone's kind of like we just find faults in everybody, and then when you like really listen to people and like kind of like just forgive their faults for a sec, like dude, you're surrounded by like the coolest people ever. Like just maybe this is why I love talking so much. I like knowing people. Like I love knowing my parents on a human level, my grandparents, my roommates, my classmates. Like I really love just like knowing people like in a really intimate way. I like really intimate storytelling. Like this book that I'm writing is like incredibly intimate and like pretty fucking pretty crude. And, like, my dad's gonna read this.